everybody. Welcome back to Reboot It Presents Movie Mashup. We have Ron Swallow. We have Ed Greer. I'm Billy Business. Producer Bill is off doing very cool Producer Bill shit that we are not smart enough to know about, but we will someday. But in the meantime, we're going to have some fun. We're going to play a little movie mashup game. If you're new, welcome. Thanks for watching. Here's how it works. We have a list of franchises. We have a list of movie genres. We have a list of movie genres, and we're going to pick a random one from each list. We're going to pick a random one from each list, and then we have exactly 30 minutes to pitch something. I don't know, reboot, sequel, whatever it is. We got to make something out of it. Ron, how do you feel going into this one? You have a couple under your belt now. You know what to expect.
Yeah, I am pretty excited now. Like, I feel like I'm just like, rolling with the cool ideas now. Like, so that means I'll fail miserably on this one.
Well, luckily you've got Ed to back you up. Ed, that's a tall task. I'm pimping you out on this one.
Dude, we're gonna double down on failure, baby. No, but you know what? That's the thing about this show. There is no failure.
No failure.
There is no option to fail. At that 30-minute mark, we have to have a product. Period. That's it. That's the bad
Good or not.
Yeah, we could either come up with Citizen Kane or Battlefield Earth, but we got to turn in something,
Yep.
So without further ado, we are going to go ahead. Today's franchise that we will be talking about is scanning. The Mighty Ducks. We are talking about the Mighty Ducks.
Nice.
Will it be the cartoon ducks or the hockey team? That's totally up to us. The genre for the Mighty Ducks is going to be, a David Cronenberg body horror movie. The Mighty Ducks. Wait, this is perfect. We can actually do both of them at the same
This is amazing.
So 30 minutes on the clock for a David Cronenberg horror movie version of the Mighty Ducks. Time starts right now.
Okay, so we've got a bunch of people who then go into the body of ducks. Done.
I don't know. Did you guys ever? I first of all, huge fan of the Mighty Ducks movies, but I also pretty sure I watched that cartoon when I was a kid. I definitely had all the toys. It was so different. Like, it's not even the same thing at all. It was like ducks from, like, literal ducks from another planet that came to Earth that fought crime with like high-tech weapons, but also played hockey. It was kind of strange.
It is hilarious that in our first couple of attempts, we are going to have, animals and anthropomorphic animals.
It's a big part of everyday life. I think it's finally time that it's got some representation on our channel. That's what I have to say.
Okay.
Wait, Ed, please go ahead. You've been marinating there for a few minutes.
No, I'm just thinking. I think maybe it's simpler than we think. It's just like, okay, there's this rock star hockey team and that happens to be the cover for their covert operations as these wet works operatives who murder people and murder presidents and stuff. And they do all this, like, these missions, maybe not murder, but you know what I'm saying? They're like SEAL Team 6 that also plays hockey. Go with me here. So SEAL Team 6 that also plays
it's a great
hockey.
idea.
SEAL Team 6 that also plays hockey as their cover, right? Because they're so secret, they can't even be to SEAL Team 6. There'll never be a book about these guys. So they play hockey as their alter ego, right? But then the body horror comes in when they're just like, oh man, looks like you soldiers need an upgrade. We're going to give you these pills and give you these radiation treatments and shit. And these motherfuckers start changing into ducks. I'm halfway serious about this.
Okay, wait. Can I take your idea, slant it a little bit, and then start running with it?
Mm-hmm.
What if we pay homage to the actual Mighty Ducks movies, and it's like, you have this Bad News Bears team that all of a sudden, by the end of this trilogy, they're in the freaking Olympics and on Wheaties boxes. And in the first movie, they couldn't even skate. So what if you start the movie and it's like a Bad News Bears hockey team, and then kind of through montages you show them getting better and winning, and then it's revealed later on that no, they didn't get better magically because their coach was awesome. They were implanted with shit to make them like superhuman and better. Like how, like other countries like torture young kids for the Olympics,
Yeah.
and just train them. And that's when it's just like, look, you guys, we gave you all these tools. You won your little pee-wee hockey championships. Now we're coming to collect. You got to pay the check. Here's the list of targets. And I think too, they realize that the stuff that they use in them turns them into ducks. Go ahead, Ron.
Yeah, here's the cover they use because this actually makes sense. Like they become so famous for their sort of bad news bears thing. Like they become so famous that they're almost like the Globetrotters, but of hockey. So
sure,
they can go from they can get into any country and do hockey stuff. So that's when they decide to use them that way. And of course it backfires because maybe the first mission doesn't go well. Like they don't hit the target like they're supposed to. And they're like, I think we're going to need to give them some more advancements. We've been working with this duck DNA.
Dude, are you saying that we could Bad News Bears twice? Like we show the story of them getting better at all this shit and blah blah, and then they got to get better at killing people too.
But remember, this is
it's body horror.
This is body horror.
That's true.
Mainly. So I think they're actually awesome at killing. But then, I like the idea of they were used duck DNA because ducks, as we learned in the first Mighty Ducks movie, ducks are aggressive. They are very aggressive, and they are very much programmed mentally to be in the flock, in the flying V, if you will. So
and they can control them better that way.
They have an innate, like they didn't build teamwork. It was genetically programmed into them to be aggressive and to look out for their flock, but almost like the Fly,
they don't want to be.
I think they start to become ducks, which is just like insane. But also, if you had told me, at some point that like, oh, there's a movie where a guy turns into a fly because a fly gets into his machine, like that's dumb. And it's like one of the greatest horror movies ever,
Like
and,
honestly,
and they get corkscrew wings.
I don't think
aren't there dinglings? Yeah, their dinglings are big.
Yeah.
Corkscrews.
yeah, their wings are regular and their thing is All right, so that being the case, though, all those aggressive traits, all that stuff, and then I think maybe what if only one of them went the route of being like, of really getting into like killing people and stuff. The other ones are starting to change and starting to like kill people surreptitiously or think about killing people surreptitiously before they know what's happening to them or something. And it's like, why is this happening? Why do I feel these urges? And then some of them like give over to it and go with the government and kill people and stuff. So at the end, you could have the good Mighty Ducks who are just like, I am having a body horror movie and but I don't want to do that stuff. So now I have my own horror movie where I'm changing, but people who are also changing, but embraced it more. Like they got more feathers, they're more agile, they're doing shit, they're more ducky than me. They're coming after me to kill me. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. What if it doesn't work for the whole team? Like, what if the government was like, yeah, this is only going to work for maybe half of them, but there's something interesting about, especially if we use the same characters, like if Josh Jackson, Charlie, if he's he's the team captain and he's going after Goldberg, the goalie who has not turned into a duck,
Yeah. So okay, but I think also, so how long how much of each section are we doing? Because it's like, are we doing this as like they were the Bad News Bears and this is their present state of affairs as a hockey team that's going through this thing?
I think,
or the story of it.
I think you gloss through, like you take the basic bones of what the Mighty Ducks trilogy was, and you boil that down literally to like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. It's the start of the movie, so that you're just like, wow, like they got really good. Where's this going? And then it's just like, oh, they didn't get good because of like, I think the coach Bombay is the first one to mysteriously die, and it's because one of them is starting to turn duck and getting those urges first, and it's almost like a mystery, you know?
Turn
Like,
duck.
This is hilarious.
These aggressive ducks. Like the more, and dude, when seeing somebody in shadow and the light swings and it swings right here and there's a face and it swings back and there's a bill and you're like, oh
dude, no, someone pulls off their hockey goalie mask and it's like half human, half like duck, just all mangled, and there's like a beak poking through, but it's all bloody where the beak is like trying to push through, like Goldberg coming
One of the
after
guys
you,
tries
like,
to throw bread on the ground to distract them.
Dude, that could really come in handy on the scene, dude. Like two ducks about to kill some guy, and the lady that's helping our hero throw some bread, and they're like, ah! And then they slam into each other, and then he's able to get away. That's definitely gonna come in handy, dude. That's a great gag, Ron.
Yeah, you know.
I think that's a great comedic moment to like break up tension in like a really like suspenseful scene where someone's like just trying to get out. But yeah, I do think that there's like interesting things too. Like I could see in my head like a scene of like someone in the like, okay, so in the second Mighty Ducks movie, you have Adam Banks, who's like their star player, and he gets injured, and he tries to hide the injury from his coach because he's the one get taken out. And they show him kind of like when everyone leaves the locker room, kind of like looking at his hand and it's all bruised and everything. I think you take the same character, you do the same thing, but instead of like a bruised hand and he's looking when no one's looking, he's like pulling feathers, you know, out of his back and stuff, like it's Black Swan, you know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I think like you start to do like, hey, like something weird is happening with this hockey team. I don't even know, Ed, and now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't even know if you get to the point where like they actually are assassins for the government.
I
think
agree.
like
I agree.
I think you just like set up that the government did this to them for the purpose of that, and maybe that'll happen down the line. But this is just them discovering like we didn't
Okay, how
get
about this?
good overnight. Yeah.
No, yeah, okay. I think so. The arc of this movie is they go from good to bad, obviously. Then, but as they get greater and greater and get more and more pressure too, we have to like the events that they have to be going to and like participating in. It's like the super duper of hockey, and you got feathers coming out of your back, and you're freaking out. You sweat all night, and you're turning into a fly, you know, or rather a duck in the manner of the fly. But you have these hockey events that you have to go to, and you have your family or your woman or whatever. All this stuff is happening while and you're juggling all that. So you get all this tension, right? And at the end, it's like they discover, yeah, my coach is a government liaison who set me up with these super drugs and messed me up. And then the Ducks maybe have to converge on him and like figure out what they want to do as far as justice with him or whatever. And then like that's our conundrum of the movie. Like, do we give in to this? Do we give in to what they tried to make me? Do I kill this guy and prove that the government was right and pumping this stuff into me to make me this thing? Maybe that's too heady for this project, but
no such
well,
thing.
I mean, if it's a horror movie, they kill that coach and they kill the government, and everything goes wrong. I mean, that's you know what I mean. Like that's
If you've never seen the corkscrew ding-a-ling of a duck, it is quite a sight to behold. So I can only imagine an aggressive human-sized duck that's like, look, duck is the way, baby, and you're coming with me whether you like it or not. And that's like you end the movie on that. It's I don't know. Maybe that might be going too far, but let me walk it back a little bit. I do think that there's something like when you do like these not like these body horrors or really any horror movies, like I almost feel like they have to end somewhat nihilistically. So now in my head, I'm trying to like marry things that were in the original movies and how you could do a spin on it. And in the second one, the Iceland coach is like a huge bad guy, like to the point where he just like takes a hockey stick and whacks Emilio Estevez in the knee at one point. So it's like, could they be going to, you know, the Stanley Cup, or that's about the extent of my hockey knowledge. And the coach is just like in the original trilogy. He's kind of like this bad guy, and he's antagonizing the team and antagonizing their coach, and before the Stanley Cup he mysteriously is murdered, and that's where we as the audience are starting to clue in that like something's not right about
and
this.
and you know what it is? You know what it is? It's
Found
because
covered in feathers,
dude, hey,
tarred and feathered, maybe.
bleeding from his butt.
Dude, I think the actual the duck assassination might happen because that guy's like, how did these dudes, the Mighty Ducks, get so much better that quick? I think these fools are on roids, and I want to have them blood tested and stuff. And then it's like, oh man, if they test their blood, they're gonna find out this duck stuff that we did, or one of the duck people could be like, this guy's trying to ruin our team. I'm gonna give into my urge and go kill him. You know what I mean? Maybe independent of any,
Here's the thing.
I know I'm free
Do
of
the
drugs,
kids-
and it just angers me so much that he says I'm on drugs.
Do the players know that they were given
Nope.
duck altering DNA?
Nope.
I mean,
I think they can't,
part
because
of
then
it.
it's
They
not
have
body-
to.
They've
have
been
to
eating
find
some
out.
special stuff. They've been eating
Yeah.
some special stuff that the coach gave them that said it's non-GMO protein shakes. Like it's like, hey, just drink this protein shake. It's totally clear. Look, you're good to go. It's going to help you get stronger and faster.
I don't know why protein shakes is so funny in this locker room apparatus, but it is. Dude, I really think, yes, it is like, hey, take your vitamins, come to mealtime, let's kick it as a team. We're gonna have fellowship, blah blah. We're all gonna drink this Gatorade, but this combination of stuff, and then like hyperbaric stuff, where it's like, hey, you gotta go do cryo, right? Go into your cryo thing, get your stuff back. You know what I'm saying? You stay in there for 30 seconds, and it's just bathing them in radiation and stuff. that's activating all these drugs they've been eating with their protein bars and their this or that.
Dude, okay. First of all, before I keep going, I just feel like I'm taking for granted that everyone is as intimately familiar with the Mighty Ducks trilogy as I am. So before I keep going down this path, like, have you guys have seen the Mighty Ducks, at least one of them, right?
Yeah, I've seen the first one.
Okay, so the one part that was always kind of strange, but you just buy it when you're a kid, is that Gordon Bombay, yes, is their coach, but he has a mentor that's there, Hans, like just the strange German guy that just takes care of everybody. And you're like, sure, why not? I think our Hans character is like the government agency guy. I don't think it's our Bombay. I think Bombay might be like your red herring, that something's kind of off. But I think it's Hans, the like team helper or whatever, and he's the one that's like, yeah, I pumped up the kids with the
well, like he's like
drugs,
the locker room manager. Like he's like nutritionist and locker room manager. Like he gives them their pills and stuff, and he cleans up after them. The definition of a service person.
Got to create the Duck Dynasty, and then.
Dude, recontextualizing that in this way is the greatest. Dude, so I'm thinking, okay, so as they're getting better, they're having all these high pressure events, they're taking more of their supplements, they're finding themselves being more aggressive, they're having adventures that are bad at night, like just jumping across rooftops.
Ed, wait,
whatever.
Can I yes and you? I think what like makes the trigger happen, that they start to evolve, is that like I think we do keep it like teens or like late teens, 17, 18, 19, and it's like their hormones and stress is like an X-Men is what's making the thing start to turn. So that's why, like, I think at first you could chalk it up to, like, oh, they're super aggressive and they're doing like, something, like if something bad happens, like, it's just, they're being irresponsible kids. But then you're like, I don't know, could irresponsible kids like, do something that only a duck can? I don't know. Like, I'm just gonna assume they have superhuman strength at a certain point.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
We would be, dude, they'd be superhumanly frail. Like their bones would snap easier because they're hollow or whatever.
I don't know. I just see them like stopping a Zamboni at one point, you know, with like a claw or something.
Well, dude, I'm envisioning stuff like them like flying through your windshield at you and messing you up. You know what I mean? Like bird strike.
Just like dropping a big white shit on your car.
What the fuck? I can't even see, and then you crash right through the windshield.
We are at about 12 and a half minutes. I think we have like at least the basic structure here. I think, you know, the real question that I want to figure out is like the Gordon Bombay character is such a big part of the Mighty Ducks movies and the Mighty Ducks mythos. Like, is there a way that we could play with that within this where, like I said, like the coach, you almost kind of think that he's going to be more of a main character than he is, and we almost kind of, you know, do the Alfred Hitchcock Psycho and maybe get rid of him halfway through, or even just play with the idea.
I think,
you know?
that no, I think you're right on that, because in this iteration of the story, it doesn't, him being around a long time, it's either it would be us playing, I think, with is he or isn't he for a little bit too long. But at the same time, if we kill him too early, we don't get any of it. So it is an interesting proposition. Like maybe top of the second,
or
bottom of the second act. You know? Yeah, a shocking middle of second act. What the, you know, I think that might be.
Yeah.
Right.
Where, and like, maybe it's literally something like, because at this point, like, because you mentioned how like the flock attitude, right? Maybe he criticizes one of them a little too roughly, and that's what like everybody turns against him. Like, I just picture this terrifying scene where he talks just a little crap and is like, hey, you're not focused, and when you're not focused, you're not getting things done, you know, whatever it is. And then everybody just looks at him, boom, like all scary and shit. And I don't know, maybe a couple feathers pop out of one of their eyebrows.
Well, I think the thing is, like, they have to initially be terrified that, like, they're like, we have to make this gross, dude. If it's David Cronenberg, it can't just be like, all like Teen Wolf. No, this needs to be like, my skin is melting and peeling off, you know. And like I said, like, I think like a beak popping through, like ripping through your face and your nose, and cartilage is kind of like falling off. Like, I kind of think there has to be like, yeah, at a certain point, they're just like grotesque creatures. And I think the only way that they could hide it is maybe, again, I don't know hockey, so pretty sure you couldn't do this. But if like all of them wore like those like Friday the 13th goalie masks, you know?
Oh, and then the announcers, actually, like, if that would work, because then the announcer's like, I've never seen this before. They're
at a certain point,
even more
like,
intimidating.
I think at a certain point, if I'm turning into a duck and I'm kind of like losing all sense of my humanity, I kind of like, I don't really give a shit if I win this hockey trophy or not. Like, I kind of just want to like terrorize everyone that is in the stands right now, though, you know?
Well, yeah, I think that has to be our big event, right? In the middle of the equivalent in this world of the Stanley Cup, the Bradley Finals, whatever.
We'll
in the middle of that, it's like gay. It's like, and maybe because of the fact that they've been going through all this weird stuff, they've been losing some of the games. So it's like game 7 of the Stanley Cup. No, maybe not game 7. Anyway, the start of the Stanley
whatever
Cup.
The equivalent is for kids.
Whatever. Yeah. And anyway, this major, hella important stuff. In the middle of that game, they go like how Teen Wolf did the very first Teen Wolf game. You know what I mean? And bust out. But it's not like, oh, I'm a wild animal and my ferocity is here, but then I'm gonna dribble a basketball, do a bunch of fun stuff for you. No, it's like he busts out. And they bust out with their stuff, and they just start like straight up murdering people in the stadium.
I think,
it's pandemonium.
Yeah,
you know, I think that would be such a terrifying ending. Is like, you know, in the first Mighty Ducks movie, it's like the Ducks and the Hawks. That's the big rivalry, is the Hawks. And I think you make it so like by your third act, I think the hockey game itself, it's like it almost never gets played. I think they find Hans and they kill him in the locker room. and they totally by this point have become like, you know, the Grundle fly from, you know, at the end of the fly. And I think they go out into the ice and they just start killing the Hawks team and they kill the Hawks coach. I don't know if it's like random killings in the stands, but that would be enough for people to just flee.
Yeah,
and
the pandemonium.
panic, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But I think it's very targeted.
Great
These
scene
are
of them going through the glass.
Oh, dude, like I think you just make it so freaking brutal, especially with people with ice skates on. Are you kidding me?
Oh,
Like
bro.
a
Super
million
agile
ways.
sort of flying characters with ice skates on. Yeah.
Oh, just like picking someone up, flying, dropping them onto like a pile of ice skates, and it just like all the blades slicing them up.
This is simultaneously horrible and hilarious. Just ducks. Just ducks.
See that again? That's what I'm saying. Like you do, it sounds stupid, but so
That's not the sound that ducks make.
The fly sounds stupid, but then when you see it, when you see the fly, it's so gross and tragic that you're like, okay, I get it. And I think the whole point of this is like, you know, like if you were to boil it down to a theme, it's like, you know, teens that feel like they have been taking advantage of, and it's just like, who can you trust when you can't trust adults in your life who take advantage of you? You know, I think that's where like you can get on the wrong path or you get on these bad paths. That's kind of like the underlying theme, but just add in a bunch of duck violence on top of it.
It's also about like, I dig the who can you trust theme, and it's also what do you get out of, like, what does sports mean? You know what I mean? Like these people are in this position because they wanted to be great at sports and they were willing to do almost anything to do it. And like sport, that's like sport leading to these people wanting to improve themselves so much that they're willing to experiment on themselves. You know what I mean? So it is a steroid story.
If that's kind of the thing, like, do you just kind of remove the idea of like this was a weird government thing? It's just like this Hans guy just like really.
I think the Hans guy is just a scientist. Screw the government.
Yeah,
I'm
he just
sorry
really
I even
wanted to
introduced
win.
that. Yeah. Because if he's a mad scientist, he is basically he's like if Jeff Goldblum didn't want to experiment on himself. If he wasn't dumb enough to experiment on himself. So he has access to these kids. He knows this guy who was a young coach or whatever, puts him up as this fall guy, sets up this whole situation. You know what I mean? And when that coach starts being like, hey, man, I think we need to cut the kids off of that special vitamin you've been giving them. I don't know what it is. I don't know what you're doing. And then next thing you know, his neck is snapped because homeboy's like, all right, well, I can't brook any interference. I'm very close. I'm very close to turning these kids into ducks that are awesome and selling them to the government or something. Maybe that's his overall plan, but we never even articulate that. But he's trying to win. He wouldn't screw all that stuff. He just wants to win. You're right. He just wants to win.
Yeah, I think he was a duck when he was a kid, like on the Ducks team, and was just, you know, trying to relive those glory days, and he just does weird shit to get it, you know? No, I almost think this is almost like a weird satirical but very poignant look at how we treat like kid athletes, like in the Olympics. Like I said at the beginning, like kind of like the terrible lives that some of these young athletes have, the pressures that they're put on for what, you know, for us to sit back at like, you know, like we're in the Roman days in the Colosseum to just kind of, you know, chant and jeer and, you know, for our entertainment. You know, it's a little strange, but I like the idea that Hans was just so crazed that he was not going to let another generation of ducks be losers, that he was going to do whatever it took, even if that meant that he was going to end up killing them. Guys, we have about 3 minutes left. I have a question. Does Queen's "We Are the Champions" factor into this at all? Can we use it in a ironic way to make it terrifying?
While they're killing, we play "We Are the Champions."
Yeah, I think, and they're murdering people with hockey sticks, and they're doing all their superhuman mayhem.
Are the champions.
I almost wonder if you do like if you do it how trailers do now, where they take like a pop song and they like emo-fy it for the sake of a trailer. You do that for "We Are the Champions," you know? You could still
Yeah.
use Adam Lambert. It still works.
Yeah, and it's just it's slower and moodier and sounds more downbeat, and
Yeah.
it's like a haunted version of that song plays as the Mighty Ducks murder the team and then jump into the stands, and that's where we cut. You know what I'm saying? Because
Yes,
like
definitely.
that's the what the movie we've been building up to is these people will do anything to get these results. But once they get the results, it goes beyond the sport. It goes beyond all that stuff because like now it's gone too far. This is the definition of too far. Our athletes jumping into the stands, duckifying them horrifyingly. You know what I mean? And
Which
like
I
not
think
even
is so
playing the
funny
game.
too, because Ron, you keep laughing that this is so ridiculous. What I think is ridiculous is in the actual Mighty Ducks 2 movie is that they are in the Olympics and they are on Wheaties boxes and they won one tournament like a year before. And it's
Yeah.
they're on like Sports Illustrated. It's like, who gives a shit about Pee-wee hockey? Like, what
Nobody.
alternate reality am I in where like a Pee-wee hockey team is like a household name? Like, that's where I think, ours is almost less stupid in a certain way,
Dude,
I know
and I
like
love
3 hockey players' names to
Yeah,
give you
I
an
know
idea.
Wayne Gretzky, and if Mighty Ducks characters don't count, then I know Wayne Gretzky.
Mario Lemieux. That's the other guy I know.
oh, you guys. So yeah, I think that's the movie build up towards, and I think the earnest Bad News Bears beginning though, leading all the way up to a big murder stadium at the end. I think that's nice. I think that's
Yes,
nice
I think
stuff.
you have to play like the first 20 minutes of the movie have to play every beat of one of those Bad News Bears movies like a greatest hits. It has
Yep.
to lull you in with this false sense of security before you start thinking, something's weird here,
Yep. It's pretty great, guys. I think we did it.
Yeah, we've got 45 seconds left on the clock. So, $1 million question. Should we just try to get Emilio Estevez back for this one? Should we do like J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson, where it's like, yeah, it's another universe, but it's still Emilio.
He plays Hans.
Oh, he could.
Yeah.
I mean, he could play Hans. That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah. There we go.
No, not having it.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, but I do think
Ed, I don't. Your opinion's wrong this time.
no, yeah, fine. He's in it. Put the kid in the picture.
And with 3, 2, 1, the kid stays in the picture. Fantastic. So here we have a body horror take, a David Cronenberg-esque body horror take on the Mighty Ducks. Hans, who in his youth was part of a championship Mighty Ducks team. Maybe he got injured and couldn't keep going. Who knows? But he has never been able his whole life to shake the fact that he needs to be a part of a winning Mighty Ducks team. He comes on to help Coach Bombay as a mentor to a flock of Bad News Bears kids, the Mighty Ducks. He helps them as their nutritionist and gives them special supplements. All of a sudden, they are Pee-wee hockey darlings. But all is not what it seems. What he is giving them actually contains the DNA of Ducks because he believes that Ducks' aggressiveness and also their unity mixed in with the players can help get them to be more than just the athletes that they already are. The kids start to notice mutations. Our Adam Banks character, who's kind of our superstar, is the first to turn. He is trying to hide feathers and different physical changes. The Ducks start to get more aggressive both on the ice rink and outside the ice rink, getting into trouble. No one knows why, because this whole time they've been kind of the goody two-shoes. They can't even themselves figure out why they have become more aggressive. It then comes to light what Hans has done, but it's too late. We have gotten to the championships of whatever crazy Pee-wee thing you want to call it. They are facing the Iceland Hawks, taking the Mighty Ducks 1 and 2 villains and putting them together that have been bullying them from the start of the movie. but no more. In the locker room before the game even starts, the full evolution of man to duck takes place. They take out Hans once and for all, but it's not enough for their duck thirst for vengeance. So they they hit the ice, and it is no longer a game of hockey. This is a game of vengeance as they unmercifully murder and destroy the opposing team, to the horror of the people in the crowd as they try to escape. Do they escape? We don't know, because we are going to cut to black. Gentlemen, that's Mighty Ducks as a body horror movie.
I mean,
Pretty great.
It was exactly what it was supposed to be, man. It was exactly what it was supposed to be.
That was the assignment, baby.
I gotta tell you, this is so fun.
Dude, and I like how we didn't feel the need to like punish them for what happened to them. A lot of movies that have sci-fi stuff, that somebody will be like, yeah, I got infected by werewolfism or something, and now you got to kill me. It's a bad example, but you know what I'm saying? People were basically victims getting killed for being a victim. It's like, what the hell? It's like, no, these guys are victims, and now you're going to get victimized because these dudes were victimized, which is how the cycle of hurt works in real life.
Then they show up in Spider-Man, and he cures them.
It's all Disney, baby. It's possible. We are in the big synergy circle now. It's entirely possible. This was fun. Thank you guys. We've got Ron Swallow once again, Ed Greer one more time, Billy Business on behalf of the Reboot It Crew. Thank you guys for watching Movie Mashup, and let's do this again. How about next week?